When we talk about financial advice, you always hear people saying the word budgeting. When you hear that word, what comes to mind?
Budgeting. Stop eating out with friends and start stocking up on instant noodles.
Or is it?
Budgeting. Stop buying new clothes, stop traveling, and stop buying that cup of coffee.
Without a doubt, budgeting has a negative connotation to it. All of a sudden, you can't spend money anywhere. You can't travel, you can't buy nice things, you can't eat out anymore. How we see it, budgeting is a word, a barrier that holds us back from getting into personal finance because it's all about restricting your spendings. But we want to tell you in this video our different approach to budgeting. Instead, budgeting should be about awareness. It's about being aware of what you're actually spending money on and cutting back on things that you don't really need. By doing that, we're making room for you to spend money on things that you actually want. In the last video, we talked about how you should have a realistic goal and know how much it will cost. Our goal was to save up $90,000 in 5 years so that we could afford getting married and to have the down payment for a small condo. To see how we can achieve that, it's important to start by looking at our current financial situation. We've created a template which you can access by clicking the link below. We'll be going through it in detail, so get on it and follow along. We'll wait for you here. So the first sheet of your money game plan is broken down into 2 sections. Your game plan summary on the top and your financial breakdown on the bottom. To fill in your game plan, just look for the yellow highlighted boxes and fill them in. As you fill in your game plan, the summary section will give you a clear overview of how your finances will be in a month, in a year, or in 5 years. If you're unsure about any numbers, don't worry. Just put down an approximate. You can always come back and update this sheet to better reflect your actual financial situation. So let's fill in this sheet based on our own goals and spending habits. I want to achieve my goal in 5 years. I make an average income from my paycheck. These are my monthly necessary expenses. Here are my monthly expenses for lunch, eating out, and here's what I budget for my annual one-time purchases. For now, we will leave the investment section blank. We'll revisit this section in another video. Now that we've filled in our money game plan, it seems like we're still quite far away from being able to reach our goal of $90,000 in 5 years. But don't be too discouraged. This is where you need to make a decision. You can say, I won't be able to save up that much, and just give up right now. Don't make any change in your life and keep living the way you are. Or you can do some adjustments to this game plan and play around with the numbers to see what kind of effort is needed for you to reach your goal. Notice at this point, we haven't told you to stop buying coffee. Saving up requires some sacrifices, and we don't want to deny that. But we hope up until now, we've painted a clear enough picture for you to motivate yourself to take that step and make changes to your life. So try it out. Play around with those numbers. For us, let's see. If we cut down a bit on eating out, instead of driving, we'll take the transit because my workplace is actually pretty close to the train station. And maybe we can pick up that freelance job that my friend offered me last week. Let's look at the difference. Immediately, we can see how those slight changes can affect how much we end up saving over 5 years. And because we have a clear goal of why we need to make those changes, there should be much more motivation for us to save and make those changes in our lives. But let us remind you of 3 things when you play around with your game plan. First, don't be caught up with building wealth and forget what being wealthy is all about. Make sure you allocate money to travel or spend money on things that make you happy. But secondly, you should also be honest with yourself and live within your means. Know what you can and cannot afford. Be cutthroat about your spendings in other areas if you want to make room to spend guilt-free in another. If you have a paid subscription for Netflix and you don't ever watch it, put that money somewhere else. And lastly, with this game plan, you should always come back and change things. Crafting this budgeting spreadsheet is an iterative process, and in a month or 2, it will slowly transform to become a more realistic view of your finances. In the next video, we'll show you how you can validate the financial breakdown you just did and use this money game plan to help monitor your own spendings. Leave a comment below and share with us one thing that you won't give up just to save money. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe below. Also join our email list at youngguysfinance.com. See you next time.
Ready, go.
No!
No!
Is it doing that thing again where it starts? Where are we? I don't even know where we're at right now.
No!
We did it again.